everybody. Welcome to another coffee lounge talk on Sunday. How is your Sunday going? How is your weekend going so far? Mine is pretty good, especially now. It'll be wonderful since I'll be making this video. Look at this. Coffee offers forgiveness for everyone, everywhere. I mean, Christ offers, the full form. And then if you read it from bottom to up, everywhere, everyone, for forgiveness, Christ offers Christ. Isn't it wonderful? Like if you read from top or from bottom, it's really wonderful. It's kind of funny when I look at the screen, it's like upside down. You know how it does the mirror effect? But anyway, I bought this several months ago, and then I always wanted to, when I do these videos, I thought I'm going to put it on the back. I have to find a better place, but for now, this is good. So today's verse is Matthew 17:20. Matthew 17:20. I'm going to read the verse from World English Bible, which is not copyrighted. That's why I'm going to be reading it from that. It is about you guys have heard the mustard seed faith and the mountain, if you are Christian, you definitely have heard it. If you're not Christian, then also you may have. And in these videos, I say all faith welcome and see how it connects with your life. And I share how I connect with these verses. And also through this, I deepen my faith. So here is what it says. Matthew 17:20. He said to them, because of your unbelief, for most certainly I tell you, if you have faith like a grain of mustard seed, you will tell this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you, right? So in a nutshell, what it is that it is the faith. Doesn't matter how big the faith is. Now, a few weeks ago, I did make a video about it because I know that God gave me that thought, and that's how I ended up making that video, a YouTube short. That imagine if your faith the size of a mustard seed, and God says you can move a mountain. Imagine what if your faith was as big as mountain, right? What could you move? And what is it? What if it was beyond anything in the world, right? What could you do? And that's the thing, right? When your faith is unbreakable, the God, the higher power, the universe, whatever you believe in, your faith in yourself grows. You don't look for any external validations. Everything is between you and God, between you and universe. Whoever that higher power is for you, whoever resonates with you. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to get the angle going properly so that guys can kind of see that too as you look at me. And I have this cup. When life gives you lemons, make something sweet. Lime to lemonade, lemon to lemonade. What am I talking about? When life gives you lemon, make lemonade. That's what I did 2 years ago. I lost my 21 years of corporate executive job and marriage in the same month. It was November of 2023. Now it's November of 2025. I made lemonade out of lemon. That's what a friend of mine said, very good friend, said, But here's the thing. I could not have done that myself. And that is why in today's verse, I want to share more of that how when you have faith, it's not how big the faith is, but what you do with that faith, right? What you do with that faith is what matters. Because you guys know that I talk about this, that there will be signs all around, but you gotta be willing to notice those signs. And sometimes I kind of say in a funny way that there will be blue balls all around. You have to be looking for the blue balls, and if you don't, you won't be able to see the blue balls. Now, blue ball is of course a metaphor. I use that so that it sticks in your brain. You got to be able to know that when you are praying for something and you are asking for God's signs, to know that that is actually God speaking or showing the signs, versus it is your flesh is looking for something. you gotta be open. You gotta be open to see it. And now if you go from the perspective of brain psychology and how human mind thinks and all of that, you must have heard the reticular activating system. Reticular activating system, RAS. You can look it up. So our brain, it keeps looking for, when you train it more, you keep looking for it. A lot of time in the self-help industry, they give the example that when you buy a particular car, then you keep noticing the same car everywhere. It's not that those cars are not there, but now that you bought that car, you are noticing those cars more, right? So your reticular activating system in your brain is noticing those more, right? Because you are personally, physically, mentally, and you're connected to that, right? So that's why you're noticing more of that. So same thing with our faith. When we are noticing, 1, 2, 3, so our mind, that RAS, knows that, okay, I saw 1, 2, 3, now I'm looking for the pattern of 4, 5, 6. So that's how it grows. And so in my case, since my faith journey has taken turns that I could have never predicted it. Oh my God, even 2 years ago, if somebody said, this is what I'll be doing, like, sharing Bible verse and talking about how it connects with my life, I'll be like, what are you talking about? I would not even believe them, right? I would not even believe them. But I was in a place where I had to surrender everything. I had to surrender everything because I did not want to live. I did not want to continue this life. But I knew I had to continue because I have a daughter. She was 7 then, and now she's 9. And when I was growing up, I was 6 years old. My dad died. He had a natural death, but it had a deeper cut. Not physical cut, but emotional cut in my mind, which I didn't even realize until late 30s. I'm in my 40s now. How much of an impact that had in my life, right? So that's the shock, and that shock that I was living in over 30 years. So imagine that. If you think of in our life how we get into the autopilot, what autopilot is, that's the thing. We go in a shock, and then the life just runs from reaction, right? So a lot of it was reaction after that. And sometimes, like, when you look back, it's like all of this was also preparing me for what I do today. And because when you finally have that realization is so deep that you probably wouldn't have gotten that otherwise. Like, a lot of people would say, why would you have to wait for something, for anybody to get to the rock bottom to find the most authentic version of themselves that is not looking for any external validations. Sorry, I'm just moving stuff from here. So that, like, you are not looking for external validations. You're just living your fullest authentic version, because that's what I do now. And then life is so beautiful, so freeing, because I don't have to prove it to anybody, right? Everything is between me and God. Oh my God. And that feeling of my friends, I have a cut, so that's why I have a band-aid. That feeling, my friend, I wish actually, that's why I do this work, because I want other people to feel that, because that's an experience. There's no other way to do it unless you get to the inner core of the onion. So this is a metaphor I use, that as when we are born, we are in that version. We don't have any fear, we have this pure concept of joy in our mind. But then as life grows, people say, well, you can't do this, you're not good enough, you can't do this because you're a woman, you can do this because you're white, you can't do this because you're brown, black, whatever, pink, but that, all of this creates a layer. All of this creates a layer on top of our original, most authentic version. So when you know how to come out of all that, you identify yourself as a human being. That's it. That's it. I consider this 8 billion people in this world as my family. right? In a way, that's what it is, right? Because we all are just one race. Imagine at some point, probably not, it's not going to be in our lifetime, there will be multiple planets with multiple different, um, not human race, I don't know, whatever race, alien race. And when human goes to those planets, then they will be like, they will identify as similar from the same family. Excuse me. If you have seen Star Trek, you know what I mean. In Star Trek, there are different types of aliens, right? And I'll give you a simple example too. Say you're American, and then you go to India, and then as soon as you see another American, you're like, oh my God, I mean, you could be from Virginia, that person could be from California, Texas, doesn't matter what their political affiliation is, what their whatever is, doesn't matter. Like, oh my God, I see another person like me, right? You get excited. That's what I'm talking about. It doesn't have to be geographic. It doesn't have to be, certain kind, what you eat, what you wear. It is just the human race. It took me a long time, 40 something years, to realize that, right? I don't see there is any difference between me and a black person or a white person or a Chinese person or a Australian person, because the point is we are all human race, right? And those are the type of um, realization would come to your mind too. And it may not come exactly the same way, it might come differently. And if these videos connect with you, I would encourage you to check out the meetup group that I have in there. And these videos, this coffee lounge talk, I'm going to be creating some free meetup event where I'll do this coffee lounge talk in 2026. So I'm very excited about that. Some of the other events where I do workshop and other things, because of the facility and because of the food I provide, I do have to, I do have to charge for those, but these are going to be fully free, and I still will try my best to provide free coffee to you guys, coffee and some snacks. But so look out for those. Those are going to be fun. You don't have to be Christians to join it, because the whole concept is reinvention from wherever you are, right? After divorce especially, and if you're in a struggling marriage, even that is for you. When you work on yourself, the way you show up in your marriage is going to be different. It is going to be different. And maybe your partner will get excited. They'll be like, oh, I want to see what made you change the way you did. I want to be part of that. And then if you can get to in that step one, where you're married and happy, step two is married and unhappy, step three is divorce, and step four is you are in this awakened version. You don't look for any external validations. It's everything is between you and God. Now, I'm not saying when you're married and happy, you can be in that zone, but there is still some things that we try to perform, right? We try to perform for our work, we try to perform for our relationship. We say no when we want to say yes, or we say yes when we want to say no. Let's say you want to do a fun activity that you enjoy but your partner don't, and then you end up saying no to, and that builds resentment in you, right? Instead, it's not that you don't want to do or you don't want to communicate that. It's more about communicating to your partner that this is what you really want to do, but right now you're doing it for them. Maybe in the future you can do it together. And those are the things I'm talking about when you think of reinvention. You are in step two, but you want to get to the happy marriage again. It's possible. It's possible. And if it is meant to, it will be. But again, it starts with the faith, what you do with that faith, right? So I work with people, and all my videos and stuff, you will see I talk about, I don't always bring the faith, because it is not faith-based channel. I cover some faith part, especially in these videos, but the other ones, like Wednesday night, I share wisdom, which is non-faith related, because um, and it is on purpose. I'll tell you why. Because after divorce, after job loss, especially if you get hit hard with both, like mine. Now I laugh. I was nowhere. I was not smiling, not laughing for a long time, my friends. So faith looks very different. And people who you would come across would not understand that. Some will judge you, some will criticize you. And that is where, and it was hard, but when you go through that experience and still get to a place that, you know, I believe in God, this higher power, in a way that is unshakable, then you get to a place that you don't want to perform for anybody. You know, it's just so amazing. I wish there was a way to show that feeling and that emotion, because there is so much, you know, there's so much pain and suffering goes just by making sure that we try to make sure somebody understands us, you know, the where we are coming from, or why I am looking at certain things in a certain way, or why, you know, why don't they understand? It is so simple. Here's the thing: they will not. They will not, because they have not had the same experiences as you did. Because yesterday evening, it's Friday evening, I was in a coffee shop. My dinner was a cappuccino and a big donut. And I was doing my work research, and it was a Friday night thing, and it was very different. Normally I wouldn't do that on Friday night, right? This work, I love what I do, and I didn't have anything else to do, so I was doing that, and that fills my bucket. And so somebody who hasn't done that ever, right? Friday night is all about friends and family and all of that. For them, the way they would look at life is different than the way I would look at it. And if I say something to them, even about my business, like how important it is, it don't make sense to them, right? For me, and I wouldn't want them to understand. Like, I not want them, I want them, but I wouldn't expect, right? A lot of pain and suffering comes from expecting someone to understand our point of view, at the same time for them understanding our point of view, and then the pain continues. And I say it all the time: 8 billion people has 8 billion unique journeys. Nobody is going to ever fully understand your story. And it even goes within the relationship, your husband-wife relationship between two friends, acquaintance, work people, in a meeting. Nobody will ever fully understand. And there is a power in that realization. What it does is, when you realize that, it helps you to let go. It helps you to not only let go with peace, right? Let go with peace, because they will never fully see the way you see certain thing, right? Because things are always same, but how people connect it with, the story that they connected with, is based on the life experience. So here's one random example I'll take. You guys know I do that with different videos. This is a mouse, right? So this is a mouse. The same mouse will be looked at it very differently. How people will tie a story. If I tell 10 people to create a story out of this, what story comes to their mind as they see it will be different. I will say that, okay, this is my mouse anyway, so I use it every day to do my work. Without that, it's going to be difficult to do my work. I use my laptop, but without a mouse, it's kind of hard for me. Somebody might say that, you use this big mouse. You know, these days they have these tiny mouses you can use. Somebody might tell me that, oh, I don't use mouse at all. I like to use just the laptop. It's just an extra thing I have to carry around. So many other stories, right? Somebody might say that, oh, where is it made? Let's say, is it made in China? The usual, right? You know, everything's made in China. And somebody would be like, okay, how much did it cost? Where did you buy it from? So you see, like, how the same object, right? There's like 5 different stories I just shared. And those stories, where does it come from? Where does it come from? Right? Some of us are like our thought, our mind, like where it is right now, and also the life experience that shaped us. Yeah, right. So now you'll be like, why am I talking about all of this in this Matthew 17:20? Because, my friend, faith, believing in God, is tied to everything. The other day, I was talking to a friend of mine that the way I look at as every experience, even taking a breath, me talking to you guys through these videos, and drinking this coffee, all can be part of prayer. Now, How is that it can be part of prayer? Because even a few months ago, I used to think that, okay, my work is my faith, the prayer, right? I help people who are struggling after divorce or going through a challenging marriage and things like that with different platforms and stuff like that. But then I was like, when I'm taking a deep breath or like a regular breath, why am I alive? Because God kept me alive, right? This is part of praying, being grateful for that, right? And I have a car I can drive. I'm grateful for that. If I didn't have money, then I don't have the car. There are so many people that don't have car, they don't have home. I have a roof over my head. All of this, all life experiences. That's how you can deepen your faith, right? Whatever we are grateful for, whatever we are mindful for, that's my version anyway, how you can deepen your faith from a mustard seed to a mountain to the endless possibility, because God is endless. There is no beginning, there is no end, right? Even I was sharing a few weeks ago, I think it was part of Wisdom Wednesday video, where everything is tied to beginning and the end, that there is no end, there is no beginning. So I'll tell you how. I'll reshare the story a little bit if you haven't seen that video. So imagine, think of this cup, right? One day it was clay, right? And somebody shaped that clay to make this cup, and then somebody painted it, and then if it was made in China, I don't know where it's made of, probably China, because it's from dollar store. So if it was made here, it would probably cost $10. Anyway, so this cup, it was a clay or probably other material, cement. I don't know what all is there to make this kind of cups. Before that it was the clay was, I guess, probably dirt, or it came out of volcano, and then before that, it was some other particle on the center of the earth, and then before earth was formed, it was a tiny particle on the universe. But before that, before universe, it came out of nothing. And if you believe in that God's word created them, that might be the beginning. And if you believe in other things, then whatever that is, right? It just kind of goes back all the way around. Now, how does it connect to the future? I'm drinking coffee from this, and I'm sharing the stories with you guys, and I am talking to my daughter, my friends, and all of that. So this is connected to me, and that story, that even a little bit that touches somebody, because every experience changes us, right? A little tiny, even if it's like a microscopic, right? So that change keeps going on as they talk to their family talk to their family, and it goes to the future. There is no end. And that little thing might change somebody in a big way, right? Because haven't you seen that sometimes you see a tiny post online, you look at that, and it just changes a big perspective in your mind, and you start looking at things differently. I remember when I was going through this divorce thing, because I tried a lot of different things, because I was doing self-help for like 2 decades. I'm like, how come this is not working? So as I started my survival journey with the daily YouTube journaling, and then you guys know the survival became like this big reinvention. And then because I had my prior experience with startups and corporate, and then became a business, when I saw that people are really getting real help, I felt like that's God's calling for me. I never thought from corporate I will end up working in this type of business, because it's different. I could not have predicted it even in my wildest dream. Anyway, that's what God's steps. You gotta believe that God has things planned for you that you can't predict. You can change. Also, it's like when God closes a door, he can't open a door. And the same thing, when God opens a door, you just got to walk through it. And even if you try to not walk through that, God is going to shape you. And I am a living proof. I know sometimes I've seen that if God wants you to go through this door and you try to go around this way, that way, then God will bring you to the door. Trust me, that story is for another day. And those are fascinating for me as I see it. I'm like, oh my God, like, God keeps showing me that I got to go through that door, not this door. It's amazing, and that's why I get so excited about sharing these things, these stories with you guys, because when you start looking for those blue balls I was talking to you about, that's how you deepen your faith, and you will see the sign. Because even if you go by the psychology, right, your reticular activating system, you are training it, and it is going to look for it. It'll be like, oh my God, why didn't I do that before, right? Because that's how you also unlock the deeper part of your soul that is fearless, right? Which is like amazing. Right. So faith of a mustard seed can move a mountain. So if you deepen it, it can move a lot of other things. And what you do with that faith, if you just believe in God, okay, I believe in God, but I don't do anything. I don't do praying. I don't have any friends who are in, follow faith. Like I'm talking about, some people might think that way. Then if you're not doing anything with the faith, nothing is going to happen. So here's a very simple example too. Let's say if you have, I don't know how God probably puts this in my head, because it is not, I didn't plan for it. It just came to my mind. You guys know that's why I used to do the videos last year. So imagine you have a seed of a corn, and you have the corn seed with you, I don't know, forever. You do nothing with that. It's just sitting on your counter or pantry. Nothing will happen. Now you decide to plant it. Then you water it. You make sure it gets the sunlight, right? So think of it's like your faith. You are watering it and giving the sunlight, which is like you're praying, you're connecting with other people who also believe. And then that seed starts to germinate. The green shoot comes out of the ground, the earth surface, and then one day it becomes a big corn plant, I guess, not tree. Yeah. And then you had the corn on the cob, whatever it is called. The ears of corn. Oh my God. Ears of corn that came out of that seed, because you decided to plant it, you decided to water it, you made sure it got the sunlight and whatever else, even if you have to put some fertilizer in or something. So you did something with that, right? So your faith, you have to do something with it to get the fruit or the veggie or the flower, right? If you don't do anything with the faith, you just believe in God. And that's how I was, trust me. That's how I used to be in the past. It's not that I didn't believe in something, the higher power or anything. I did, but I didn't do much with it. So when you don't do much with it, and that's another thing with self-help. Self-help is going to teach you how to work with your mind and body, but the soul is worked with faith. That's the big gap. That's the big gap. How do you fill your empty cup? Because self-help will tell you that, oh, the biggest secret of living a happy life is giving. But what they don't tell you is, before you give, fill your cup. And fill your cup means it's not filling your cup with coffee, filling your cup with happiness. What makes you happy, right? Sorry for making the voice. I just got a little dramatic with that. When you pour from a full cup, because you are happy, you are overflowing, you are pouring happiness. But when you pour from an empty cup, that means you are sad. So when you're pouring out, you are pouring out sadness, frustration, anger. So it is important to have our cup filled with happiness. Then you will be pouring happiness, right? Okay, with that, I'm going to finish my video. Thank you guys for watching these videos. And if it helps, please do share it with others, because you never know whose life you are going to touch and how their life will reinvent in a way that they're going to go touch so many other people's lives. Take care. Bye.